Mead, Boris.
I am Dracula.
Welcome to Monster Manor. Very auspicious episode tonight. This is episode 13, and I am very honored and excited to have someone who I'm a huge fan of personally as well, an artist by the name of Michael Raymond. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Michael Raymond.
Hello, everybody.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Busy. I'm busy.
Awesome to have you on the show. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of your work. I've been following it for some time now. It's absolutely stunning work. So I might fanboy out through this, through this interview, but please bear with me. But I always like to ask our guests, where it all started for them, because monsters, especially the classic ones, they have kind of, they've had their resurgence through the years, but it's kind of taken a back seat to a lot of the younger guys. Now I'm trying to get it out there, of course, with Monster Manor, but where did it start with you?
I remember being about 8 years old in New England. When I was a little boy, there was a show on Channel 56 called Creature Feature. And, I'm not sure how far that went out into the country, but in my little world, it was on at 11:30 at night, and it literally featured two classics. And I remember I was about 8 years old, and I snuck out of bed, sat on the floor in the den, turned the TV way down, and I saw my first Universal horror film, which was Frankenstein, 1931. And then I was kind of hooked. And then the next weekend and the weekend after that, I kept making sure my parents were asleep and sneaking out into the den and watching Creature from the Black Lagoon, the original, Dracula, Bela Lugosi, excuse me, and the Wolfman, and it all just kind of. And now when I get older, it's more of a nostalgic thing for me. I look back and I have really fond memories of those old friends, and I thought it became a comforting thing, the old horror films, mostly Universal.
Right. Now that would have been what, the 70s thereabout?
Yeah. Well, so it would be like 71, 72, around there, 69.
So that was kind of the tail end of the whole, Real Arts releases and
the resurgence kind of thing.
Theater.
Yeah, exactly.
That was a good time to be a monster kid as well, because we had.
You got Famous Monsters coming out, the magazine. You had all those great model kits coming out, and all that was feeding this little kid who was very, very creative. And then I started trying to draw stuff, mostly from comics, and then getting into Frazetta and other artists. And then I started kind of learning anatomy that way.
Mhm.
And, you know, and then the whole thing is about imagination and letting yourself loose and having no bounds. And that's what the monsters did for me. And you're right. It was a great time to be a little boy in that era because everything was coming out. Everything was interesting and cool. And, you know, and like even the Munsters was great to watch.
Oh yeah.
The Munsters and the Addams Family and all that stuff. Just a great time to be a little boy.
Yeah, and even Saturday mornings. Do you remember the Monster Squad?
No, yeah.
Oh man, I tell you, it was such a good time for monsters. And you know, we try to do our part, and at least with our kids are being raised on that stuff too through YouTube and showing them what was out there for us.
Right.
Because nowadays, like I said, monsters have kind of taken a back seat as far as the classics go. And you know, I'm such a proponent of that style because it said so much. And you never saw any blood, you never saw any violence really. It was very subdued, but your mind painted this picture, and I think
Right.
it was really responsible for guys like you and me to be creative and to be creative on a different level than you can be today.
It was good storytelling.
Yes,
That's what it was. It was they didn't have to rely on the cheap scare or the gore effect to translate the narrative of the story, and that was what it was. The foundation of a good film is a great storyline, and that's what the universe. And also that kind of I love that mythic, gothic feel too. And I remember that mostly when I saw the first Frankenstein, how kind of devoid it was. It made me feel from reality. How I really did step into that movie, and it swept me away. It really scared the hell out of me.
yes.
In a good way.
Yeah, for me, it was at 4 years old, and I've often told this story, but it was the old Castle films, the 8 millimeters. That was the first time I ever saw Frankenstein 1931, and that was the first monster movie I ever saw. But it was seeing it on that 8 millimeter at 4 years old and saying, "Wow, this is a thing. This is real." It was it blew my mind.
Was it the full film? Or just
It was the Castle film, so it's kind of a cut down version.
Yeah, right. That's
but it was enough to get my interest going. And from there, of course, it was the Crestwood books. You remember the Crestwood books from elementary school?
Sure.
I could not get enough. And thank God, like you said, there was always Famous Monsters of Filmland, like where you could read the men behind it, you know, James Whale and Jack Pierce. You know, they kind of formed our lives, you know, as being monster kids and fans.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So
totally.
I'm sorry. So you you have been classically trained as an artist. I want to mention that because your stuff, aside from monsters, is phenomenal and beautiful. I have to say that. And anyone, I think we have the crawl for it. If you want to see more of his work, you can check that out on his website. We have that that'll be shown throughout the episode, as well as his Facebook, Instagram, all of that we have there. You are not going to want to miss this stuff because he's got a catalog, a just beautiful catalog. But I'm sorry to interrupt it with all of that, but I go there to ask this. When you got started doing the fine art, how old were you with that, and how did you make the bridge from classically trained artist to, you know, well-known monster artist as well, because you're award-winning in both?
Yeah. Well, I started probably drawing around 8 years old, and I knew around 8 or 9 that I could catch a likeness really well. And so that being said, I was drawing into grade school, and I was starting to win some minor awards for art. And then I'm thinking the first major thing was probably in high school. There was a really big regional kind of art competition that I won. And then I didn't do much for about 10 years. I decided to start a family and was raising my daughter and, you know, being a good dad and doing the things that I needed to do. But I always kind of leaned back into art whenever I had a chance. And then I got the opportunity jump into it full time again. And then when I did that, I did a lot of traditional art, which was like, the flower pot in the window kind of stuff, and seascapes and landscapes.
Mm-hmm.
And I got into some galleries in New York and into Boston, and got some awards and won some competitions and stuff like that. And it was nice, but I was really bored. Banging shoulders with people, they're all competing for the same dollar, doing a different seascape or landscape, and it just seemed kind of sterile to me. And then I reflected on myself a little bit and thought about what really motivated me and made me feel alive, and what really was my passion. So a friend of mine out of the clear blue asked me to do at a party a quick Bela Lugosi sketch for him, just out of memory. And I did a Bela Lugosi sketch, and he loved it. He posted on Facebook many, many moons ago. And then all of a sudden, it started happening, this kind of pulse. And flash forward now, I'm in the collection of celebrities. I'm doing commission work, and personal collections. And I've got work all over the country. And I've got it in Prague, London, Germany, Australia. And it's just, but here's the key. It was the stuff that came from the heart that really made me feel alive, that propelled the whole kind of mission forward. And now I'm only doing what I love to do, and I'm only taking on what I want to take on. And if it doesn't excite me, I don't do it. And I do work in drawings. I love every now and then working in graphite and working a beautiful detailed drawing. And then all of a sudden I'll just have the desire. I want to do 4 or 5 paintings in a row, and I'll take on a few commissions and start doing those. Yeah, I mean, it's exciting. How quickly things, mostly from Facebook and the internet, how quickly things started to jump forward.
Yes.
I hope that answers your question.
And we actually have some graphics that we can show as well. I believe these are graphite, but if you could describe these to us, producer lady, we have let's put up the Glenn Strange, because there's the.
Well, that's Forrest Ackerman.
Oh yeah,
Uncle Forey, as most of us call him. He's the publisher and the creator of Famous Monsters of Filmland.
Yeah, kind of the first big monster kid.
Oh yeah, and he actually has so much stuff connected with horror films. His home could be a museum.
Yes.
And that by the way, that wasn't completed. That was just me working on it. But
beautiful.
I have a kind of a soft spot in my heart for him. He was and a genuinely nice man too.
Yes, I never got a chance, but I've heard stories from just about every monster kid I've talked to, they've gotten to go to the Acker Mansion and see that, because he didn't shy away from publicity with it. He was in the phone book. You could call him up and just say, "Hey, how's it going?"
He also had like open access to a lot of movie sets.
Right.
He was such a nice man that a lot of the production companies let him right in. When they were doing something with Christopher Lee or doing something with Boris, he would come in on the set, and he was just a really nice guy. Everyone loved him. He's greatly missed.
Yeah. Let's put up Glenn.
Yeah.
Now, was this one a graphite as well?
Yeah, that's graphite. All that is pencil and paper.
Now that is so ethereal. I absolutely.
That one is graphite on canvas board. That's 16 by 20.
Oh.
That one is these are commission pieces. This one, that's one of my favorites. That's of course the Invisible Man, Claude Rains. And I really wanted to make make that look like fabric. Oh yeah, that's me working on Edward Scissorhands.
Now, this is also graphite, or was this paint?
Yeah. That's just a pencil on stretch canvas. I did a 6-foot stretcher bar frame. I actually, on that same frame, I did a Bela Lugosi, a Bride of Frankenstein profile.
Yeah, this
Oh,
one.
there she is. Yep.
I love that one.
Yeah, that went to a gentleman in I think upstate New York, and he put it in his man cave or his horror cave.
Yeah.
But that was fun to do because whenever I have a chance, I like working really large.
Yeah, you can pack so much more detail into it.
Yeah, and I love visual impact. I love a lot of punch, especially with the horror theme.
Yes.
I like moving things right into your face. I don't like a lot of foreground usually.
Yeah. Now, if this is a trade secret, you
Sure.
don't have to answer. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but when you're working with something that large, how do you keep perspective on that?
It's called turning the easel to the west and walking into my kitchen an awful lot and getting perspective. Because when I did those, my studio's not that deep. So I have to turn the easel so I can walk out my studio door into my kitchen, which gives me a good maybe 25, 40, 35 feet, something like that, 28 feet, that I can see it and say, okay, the eye's a little bit off, or I got to move the hairline down, or the jawline's a little off. But you know what's funny? Ever since I was a kid, though, I could always like see when things aren't right atomically in a face. I know it might sound kind of strange, but you know those games we used to play where you have two different images and you have to find the 7 differences?
Yes.
Yeah, we could do those like in 3 seconds. So I just can see something and go, yeah, Glenn Strange's nose is not right, or Bella's eye's not right, or Boris Karloff. See, and then when you do Boris enough, or Elsa Lancaster enough, you start remembering their features. And every drawing I do after comes easier and easier, to the point where I just might look at a photo and I can sketch it and only look at it once because I know their faces. So I've done Boris like 20 times. I love Boris Karloff.
These are our family, you know, we grew up with them.
Yeah. And it's like when someone says, well, I want a commission of Boris from the Black Room or from the Body Snatcher. It's like, yeah, okay. You know, we can work on that.
Well, you definitely do them honor.
Thank you.
I mean, you capture and I love this about your work, is that you can definitely see the actor, and it's such an honor to see them represented that way, because I think a lot of them, you know, they look at them for the characters that they portray, but yours, it captures the heart of the actor. Has any of the heirs to the classic monsters, have they seen your work of their fathers or grandfathers and ever commented on them?
Yeah, Sarah Karloff contacted me, and I had done a big 6-foot by 5-foot painting of her father, which went to a gentleman in New Hampshire. Anyway, she contacted me and said she said it was one of the best Karloff she's ever, one of her best dad paintings she's ever seen. And I was like,
oh, there he is.
I don't know how you found that. Excellent.
Oh, we scoured your Facebook.
You did. Yeah, that's old. That's old. And then there was one I did of oh my goodness, of him in The Mummy. That was a drawing. I just done him in a lot of his different films because I don't think he's the kind of actor that transforms into each role he does. You know, like when he was in The Ghoul, or he's in I personally think The Body Snatchers is one of his best roles. Have you seen that one? You must know that. Unbelievable. Great stuff in that. But yeah, I mean, so I love working on his face. If I have a chance, it's a pleasure. You know, if I got a reason or a commission to work on Boris's face, I just grab it.
Yeah, I have to continue. Did you ever do any of his from Thriller, like that era of Boris Karloff where he was older?
I think the oldest I've done. Well, I think I did a drawing from The Terror with Jack Nicholson.
Yes.
And I think that was the oldest one I've done. And what is that, like 72 or something? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But that was an old Boris. Yeah.
Well, one of these days, man, you have to do a coffee table book of all of this work because it is just so beautiful. And nowadays you can self-publish, so it'd be easy.
Yeah, there's been some work. There's been some talks about it from some of my other kind of followers, and it might happen. Yeah, because I've got a plethora of stuff. I've got a mountain of material that goes back, 15 years.
Oh yeah,
and that's horror, like horror back 15 years. So, and that's not the traditional artwork, obviously.
Yes.
But, yeah, and there's a lot of stuff on my website that I'm very lazy about posting stuff. So, and there's some people that get commission work and they don't want it publicized, like we talked about, what I'm working on for them. They don't want anyone making copies or something. So, I don't put it on my website, obviously. And that's sometimes kind of hard because there's some beautiful stuff that's happened and I can't share it with anyone, you know, but anyway.
We share those NDAs. Yes. I wanted to talk to you about this one also. It's the Lon Chaney Jr. Wolfman. It's a color piece. Now, this is so vivid. And, when I think of Lon Chaney as Wolfman, I think of this coloring. How do you come up with your color interpretations of typically seen in black and white characters?
Well, I read a lot too. I've read a lot about, Jack Pierce and what he has said in some of his memos and stuff about the artists. And I use common sense too. And I also, like the Bride of Frankenstein's hair, it's common knowledge she has red hair. The Wolfman, I lean towards a tawny brown. I guess there's no real, stamp on what's real, because there's not a lot of color images of any of that. So I just kind of go on what I feel, what I think is probably very accurate. There are a couple of color photos of Lon Chaney as the Wolfman. Later in his career, when he did some cameo type stuff.
Right, like the Bud Westmore years. And
yeah, exactly. So I kind of pulled off that, and so far I think it's been working pretty good for me.
Yeah. And your color Frankenstein, your monster, the Boris Karloff especially, the colors that you have in that, they're not what was represented, say, in the Son of Frankenstein birthday home videos that you see with that bright, green to make them appear so light. Yours are very subdued and realistic, which I absolutely love.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, well, that green was how it transfers onto black and white film to make him look more ashy and dead. And if you look at my bride right here, you'll see that she doesn't have the warm tones that's in your face right now. You have to remember she's basically a cadaver that's been reanimated.
Yeah.
So I didn't want her to be pink-cheeked and lush and vibrant. I wanted her to have life in her eyes and in her lips, and her sutures to be red. But I also, it's my effect. What I like to do is I do a lot of layering. So underneath her is a layer of purple, and then I lay pigment on top of that, very translucent and thin, to give that luminous, in her circumstance, dead effect. And I thank you so much. And I do that with Karloff too, and anyone that I feel is is not of this world. I think it's a little touch of that I have that adds a little plus to it. Because if you look at my stuff in person and you get right on my paintings and really look closely at them, you'll see there's many, many layers of pigment to build up to what you're seeing.
Now, what is your medium of choice with your color paintings?
It's oil.
That is oil. Oh wow.
Yeah, it's oil, but I use a medium to thin out my oils until I want them more opaque. But what I'll do is I'll thin them out to a point where they're a little more translucent, and they'll dry quicker. And then I'll lay on top of that, and then I'll lay on top of that, and then I'll bring in my other tones, my dark tones, and then I'll start building the flesh up to you see what we have at the end. And then, of course, at the end, I use pure pigment for my highlights and stuff.
Right. And I keep looking over here. For those that are wondering, camera's here, but I got to look at this because I can't take my eyes off of some of these paintings. The Bride and this Nosferatu is absolutely stunning with all of the textures and the depth and the highlights.
That's actually Mr. Barlow from Salem's Lot. That's not Nosferatu, but you're close. It was based on that.
Yes.
Of course, that's big. This one you're looking at is big. This is 6 feet high.
Oh,
you wouldn't know it from the photo, but it's a very big painting. That went to that was a commission piece for a gentleman in Vermont, I believe.
Stunning.
That, of course, is the great Lon Chaney Sr. looking at me as I'm painting.
Choices are beautiful.
I like how he's looking at me as I'm painting.
Yes. Yes. London
After Midnight.
This is one of my personal favorites too. Absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you so much. This is big. This went to the UK. This is I think 40 inches long.
That's like a movie poster almost.
Yeah. I wanted to do a painting that was a scene you don't usually see from The Bride. And I really like the relationship between, Dr. Pretorius and Colin Clive. And I really wanted a painting of those two together, kind of working on The Bride. And I got a bunch of reference pictures and started doing some sketches, and then I came up with that painting. It took a while. It's a big one.
It looks like we do have a question up.
Oh.
I can't read that one.
Oh, I know. That's TJ, my friend TJ Watson.
So any celebrities that you can share with us?
Sure. Tom Savini, Alice Cooper, Benicio del Toro, who else? Tom Hardy. Guillermo del Toro, the guitarist for Metallica, Kirk Hammett.
Oh, of course, Kirk Hammett.
He's a big flower collector. Yeah, there's a few. It's always kind of cool to get a call or a message from an agent representing one of these people.
Is that one of those pinch yourself moments when someone of notoriety contacts you and says, "I like your stuff so much, I have to own some of it"?
Oh yeah. It really brings you right back down to earth in a way. Makes you really think like, wow, maybe I am doing something kind of cool here.
Well,
it's because right now it makes me happy, but to know that it makes certain key people happy, that's kind of a good feeling. Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes. Well, I know I put you on the spot when we were originally talking about you coming on the show, and I said, what was one of your favorites? If you could send me one that was either personally your favorite or you had a special thought about, and I think you sent me this one here, which is Nosferatu.
That is, yeah. I you know what? I have a several favorites for different reasons. But I think if I had to pick one, I like this one because it's subtle and it's powerful and it's just straight up creepy too, which you got to remember the creepy elements got to be in there. But I've also been a fan of this movie since I was a little boy. My daughter too loves this film. And to this day, even though it's 1922, it still creeps me out. It still scares me. And I'm a grown man who still likes being scared. So I wanted to do something. That's, by the way, that's a big painting. I think that's 30 inches high.
Oh, so you can pack a lot of detail into that.
Yeah, 36 inches high, actually, I believe.
Hmm.
And I really wanted to do something that I hadn't seen yet. I hadn't seen a really that for me that I really loved, a really good Nosferatu oil painting that it's really screams Max Schreck on it.
Yes.
That really says it, because it's so hard to get really detailed, crisp reference photos from him.
Oh yeah.
Because, you know what I mean? Because the images are so kind of blurry back then.
Right.
But anyway, I managed to get a bunch, and I worked off a few photos, and there's the painting, and I'm very proud of that one, because I really wanted to get a certain. That's a good example of what we're talking about, where I did a lot of underpaintings of deep purple and stuff, and then I laid a lot of like cream colors and ochres on top and white. Right. To give that dead effect, because I didn't want him to look too like we talked about with the bride, too alive. I wanted him to look like he's been alive forever, but also is a walking corpse, basically.
Right.
And if you look closely at that painting, you'll see he's got some hues to his flesh, but it's not like you or I, and that's what I'm looking for that. But I like jumping around too, because I'll do like a painting of Harrison Ford.
Yes.
I've done a lot, and I don't like being jammed just into one genre. But the horror genre is where I prefer to be. If I had to pick one, that's where I'd like to stay.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I've done I did a Beetlejuice one, not a Beetlejuice, Edward Scissorhands painting. I don't know if you have that up. And that one came out nice. So I like to move around, keep myself interested.
Can we put Quint up? This is another one I saw that is so beautiful. And
that was a while ago.
It's just gorgeous. And of course, Frankenfurter.
Yeah.
You have captured. Oh my God, this one is just so beautiful. Yeah, and we are a Tim Curry. And the thing is that your art would apply to any one of my kids. And I've got a 6-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 15-year-old. And the 6-year-old, believe it or not, she is a monster kid, and she was raised on it. And because it affects household, she knows how this stuff is made. So she's never been afraid of that stuff. But she loves that. My son is a big, the 10-year-old, going to be 11. He's big into Nosferatu. And the oldest is all about Rocky Horror. That's like her initiation for any of the friends that come over. If they haven't seen it, they have to see it. So, I mean, there's something for all of my kids in what you do.
Perfect.
I love it. Like I said,
anyone like Edward Scissorhands? You get anyone like Edward Scissorhands?
Oh, yeah. That would be my wife.
Yeah.
Producer lady. And I did want to talk to you about this one because amazing.
Yeah.
You captured that photo that was used in that movie so well. That painting, that looks like it was right out of the movie.
That's what I'm talking about with that particular painting. That's very an old world kind of approach in dealing with the subject matter with that somber background, and really hyper focusing on the flesh and the work on the embroidery. But that background is a background that I really wanted to look like a Renaissance painting almost. And I like that one as well. That's one of my favorites too.
Yeah, stunning. Absolutely beautiful. Now, do you take a different approach when you're trying to mimic something like the Young Frankenstein portrait versus some of your other work? Is there a different approach to the style or materials that you would use?
No, same approach.
Yeah.
I'll go in and I'll work from a bunch of photos and I'll do a very detailed sketch because I don't like to do a lot of changing when I start painting, when laying pigment down.
Yeah.
I'll do a very detailed. Sometimes I'll do 3 or 4 sketches to see composition wise what I want to do. And Nosferatu was like that. I had his hands up higher, and I had his hands lower. I had his head turned a little bit. So I find out what I like, and then I go in there and I do a nice detailed drawing, and I do an underpainting, and then I start building it up. And then about halfway through this building of the structure of the face, I'll at that point I lay in my background usually, so I can lay the image on top of it, so it doesn't look like the background just meeting the face.
Right.
I'll lay the background out, and then I'll kind of a slight overlap, and that's kind of how I work. But drawings are different too. Drawings are straightforward, just a pen and a pencil and paper, and go to it. Which kind of like too, because it's so simple. And and I use like 3 different types of lead hardnesses.
Yeah.
And I have a kneading eraser, and that's all I use. My like you saw my Invisible Man. That's just 3 different leads of pencil, and
that one's worth putting up again. Yes.
Yeah, that one. You can see there's a highlight on his button. I did all the cloth on his shirt. That was really fun to do. And I wanted to be able to see through the glasses too.
Yes.
A little bit.
Yeah. And I'm sure you scour all the photos when you do something like this.
Yeah. Well, you need to. It's kind of like your Bible. You got to have something to lean on. I can't sit with Claude Rains and have him pose for me. So I need to use from, and sometimes I'll create something that is not from a photo. It's from 7 photos.
Yes.
I might use a background of one, his shoulder line or his jawline from one. I might use the lighting from another one.
Yeah.
Just change it all around. That's happened a few times as well.
Oh, I think that is so universal. As you know, I do more 3D sculpt. And it's the same thing. You just kind of immerse yourself in as many angles and views. And, I have always found Boris Karloff's face to be absolutely beautiful. There's so many angles and stuff that you can do, or Claude Rains being, an Invisible Man. You think, hey, that's easy, the wrappings, but the way that you capture the wrappings and the textures and stuff like that, it's just, you can see the love that you pour into this. This is not something that is glancing. This stuff, if I could get lost in it, that's why I would love to see a coffee table book. You could just enjoy everything, because I could maybe afford, 1 or 2 to own, but then, to be able to see all of these beautiful pieces in one place, it's unbelievable.
Well, it may happen soon, and we'll see what happens.
We do have a question on the screen. Do you prefer oil to drawing, or is there a preference?
Depends on my mood. I really don't prefer one to the other. Don't forget, every painting I do starts with a drawing. So I don't prefer it. But there are times where I've done 3 paintings in a row, and I've actually stepped out of the studio and said, that's it. I'm going to just do a drawing or 2 next for the next couple of weeks or month, and not touch any oil paints for a while. And then I get bored, and then I go back into a painting. So to answer the question, not really. I don't really prefer one or the other. I get a certain fulfillment from oils, and there's a certain directness with just plain drawing that I kind of like, and the immediacy of it. I can pop out a drawing in a day and a half. Painting could take up to 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So if I want to really throw myself into a subject matter, and I think it deserves the time, then I'll throw myself in and do an oil painting of, say, The Bride, or whatever the subject matter might be. But depends on my head's at a time. Sometimes, you know what, I don't really want to do it. I don't want to spend 3 weeks on something. I want to just blow something out really quick in 2 days. So I'll do a 6. My drawings are never small either. So I'll do a 16 by 20 inch drawing I did like the Karloff one you had with him holding the flower. Yeah, and then I might just say, now I'm done with drawings.
Yeah.
I want to do a couple big paintings, big. So I might do a 3-foot painting, and throw myself into it for a month.
Wow.
And there's a peacefulness about it for me. It's almost like therapy when I go and I get on something that is so big that I really have to kind of balance my time and see it for what I think it's going to look like. I did a really big Bride of Frankenstein. I know we're talking about the bride a lot here, but it just seems like I did a big one of her and Karloff together holding hands. Famous photo from the movie, but I did it like 6 feet long for my friend Eddie, and that was very cool because I got to really not worry about the next couple of weeks. And when I got up in the morning with my coffee and I went to the studio, I knew I'm working on Karloff's sutures today.
Yeah.
Or I'm working on his jacket, or I'm working on the bride's hair today, or I'm working on that. So it's fun. It's fun.
No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah.
I know that you said earlier in the interview that you have done pretty much every classic monster, Gothic monster. Is there anyone that you would want to do that you haven't done yet, or a pose or capture a moment? Is there anything that you like just think out, oh, I want to work on this next or this soon?
Well, it's funny. I just I thought about that about a couple weeks ago, and one of my friends said, "Why don't you do a Curse of the Werewolf with Oliver Reed?" And so I did a drawing in a day. But to say that something that's yearning in me to do, you know what? Honestly, no, not really. I think I've hit everything I want to do, but that doesn't mean I can't do a movie from a different angle or a different view.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't mind doing something from like Curse of the Demon, which I love, the UK film, or The Ghoul from Karloff, which I haven't done yet. I love that movie. And I still haven't done Karloff from The Body Snatcher, yet, and I really want to do that. But there's nothing. The only thing I can say that I really wanted to do recently was probably, this is going to sound kind of funny because it's not really a horror thing, but was Edward Scissorhands. I really wanted to do something that captured his innocence and his quirkiness and his simplicity. And I don't know if you have that painting, but and it wasn't the big drawing that I'm talking about.
We only have that one up.
Yeah, and it was one that I really wanted to do, and I did it. And I don't think it's on my site yet. I have it still in my studio, but but I always, like I said before, I always kind of lean back towards the horror stuff. But I've done Peter Cushing, I've done Christopher Lee, Boris many times. There's just so much. There's so much really quality stuff to play with there. There's so much great work there that you have so many great films that you can lean on and be creative with and have fun with. You know? So.
Well, count us among your fans, my friend. We absolutely, I adore your style. I adore your subject matter, and it's been an honor. This has been a very fast, 45 minutes. If you would like to ever come back, please feel free. We would love to have you back at any time.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Is there anything that you would like to leave your fans and viewers with tonight?
Well, just that I appreciate all the people that follow me on Facebook, and that comes from the heart. I really do, and I want to thank all of them. And I'm gonna keep working and keep moving forward, and hope.
I'm sorry, we had a little technical glitch there. But yes, I totally agree with what you're saying. You know, the fans are what allow us to do what we do. So absolutely, and we're a fan of yours. So
Awesome. Thank you so much, Scott.
Yes. So thank you for joining us tonight. And if you want to follow his work, be sure to check out his Facebook page, Michael Raymond. And Instagram, we have that as well. We'll put it in the comments after the show as well. So thank you very much, Michael, for being a part of our show tonight, our
Thank you, my friend.
15th episode. And we hope to see much more work of yours coming out. Maybe even that coffee table book.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, Scott.
So now comes the time for us to introduce our wonderful Boris. And I always have to preface his appearance to say,
"Hey,
that,
maker.
Yes.
Hey, we got a problem."
What's the problem, Boris?
Remember what you said Boris can't do in the box?
Yes.
At the front?
Yes.
Well, the door was locked. Well, Boris thought the door was locked. And Boris did it twice.
Oh, Boris.
And apparently the neighbor didn't like it. So with the flashy cars, with the lights, the flashing, they want to talk to the owner of the house and why a man with a box.
Okay. So you're saying that there's uniformed police officers out front.
There's 5-0 come out here.
This is a first also, so I'm gonna have to go check this out with the producer lady here.
Yeah, they want to talk to both of you.
Boris, just behave for a minute, okay?
Good. This is Festa Maker gone. And the producer lady outside, Boris locked the door. During the Boris credits, Boris got a special thing for you tonight, okay? It's the 13th moon, like the blood species special moon that was on a couple days ago. So you can't even talk. The gypsy lady, Boris give life savings for magic talisman. He's going to bring a celebrity back from the dead to talk to him tonight. So we got to shake the gypsy. Shake. Okay, now they say the thing, oh, wow, the food I am. Okay, now put that away. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to channel. See, Festa Maker can only get John Nagar's son. Boris got living God or dead God, but God nonetheless, John Nagar. Okay, so there's the thing. You ready? We're going to talk to John Nagar now. But John Nagar, are you in the building? Well, yes, Boris, I am, and I thank you for taking me out of the other side to come to talk to you tonight. Well, that's nice, Mr. Agar. Boris want to ask you a couple questions if it's possible. You know, like Festa Maker going to talk about boring. Boris going to get the nitty gritty. Is that good with you? Well, yes, Boris, that would be good. What would you like to talk about? Tarantula. When you're about 6 foot tall, and are they banging on the door? No. They'd be a 6 foot tall tarantula like size of a house. So how do you fight the tarantula and win when you fought the tarantula? Well, Boris, now you're just being silly. No, but the problem was we couldn't get a large tarantula, so it was a special effect. They filmed the tarantula and then used movie magic to make it seem bigger, and I fought the tarantula. So, like, you didn't really kill big tarantula. No, Boris. But that was a good question.
Boris,
anything?
There was no one out there.
Boris, looks like people here. I'm going to go. God bless.
What the?
Nothing.
What in the sweet name of Jesus to Murgatroyd have you done, Boris?
Boris, you missed the interview. John Agar was here.
Was that? Wait a minute. No.
He was giving
autograph.
Yes. See,
that
it's a gypsy. Gypsy said,
for the love of God.
You got to do. Oh, we got the Festa Burger down. Festa Burger fainted.
No.
By the way,
I am gonna beat you with
no, it's okay. It's good.
No, it's not okay.
He was here.
It's not okay.
By the way,
it's a beautiful, highly rare photo, one of 4
Well,
that was autographed consent to us, and you just destroyed it, and my husband's on the floor.
Well, you should be worried about the husband rather than Boris right now. By the way, John Nagar sponsored by Murray's House of Shovels. Murray's House of Shovels, we can take it. And then the Exacto that hacked out the mouth. But we can tape it. We got tape.
Tape is not
The gypsy
going
gave-
to save that, and it is not going to get my husband off the floor.
Well, you should.
I swear, if he's had a stroke or a heart attack, you are a dead man.
This helped the show. I get John Agar Sr., the living god that made the tarantula. He fought the tarantula. He lived through, says Iwo Jima. She wore a yellow ribbon. The hand of death. He touched people and
you're
killed
a
them.
dead man.
What do you mean, dead man?
Oh, you're a dead
No,
man.
the gypsy gave you special
no,
tape.
No, sir, because John Agar now wants to talk to you.
Oh, maybe so his father want to talk to Boris. Say thank you. Okay, we're gonna put this down. Stay there, Mr. Agar. God bless. Okay, so what we got?
Boris.
It's the demigod, Mr. Agar. Hello.
Boris, man. What the hell are you doing?
It's channeling your father from the other side to talk to him.
No, wait a
Because
minute.
Festa
No.
wasn't good enough.
What are you talking about? Dude.
What?
You got that? Do you know that was a very special photograph that I sent to you and Scott to have
Yeah,
for the
well,
show?
that's why the gypsy said we had to use it to bring the power of Agar in
What are
with
you-
the magic
Boris,
little thing
what
that
are you-
says Hawaii.
Dude, are you like completely mental? Seriously, you don't see what you've done, and you locked Scott out of the house to
Well,
pull
yeah,
this off?
because this is exclusive.
Man,
But
this-
it's a tribute. It's tribute to you and Dad for all the great
Dude.
work and the fighting tarantula and the brain and the creature from the Black Lagoon.
What? Come on, dude. Are you like completely? Have you completely lost your mind? You don't see that's a very rare photo, and you've destroyed it.
No, we just tape it. Gypsy gave special fix tape for that.
There was broken glass on my floor. Did you destroy the frame that it was
Jesus,
in?
man.
Well, we got to get that to frame real quick.
Boris, this is
Yes,
this
sir.
is this is this is this is bad.
It's
This
what
is-
bad.
This is not good.
But
this
Boris
is
paid his whole
insanity.
life savings for the magic tiki to bring your dad back.
You did what now?
To give the whole life savings to make the tiki so he could bring the dad back and
What did you buy this
for the
Brady
word of
Bunch?
Agar.
Magic
You know,
tiki,
this is going to be
gypsies?
enshrined.
What are you out of your freaking mind? This is just unacceptable, dude. That's
Uh-oh.
that you can't replace that photo. That was a one of a kind.
But Boris
That was
screw
a
up.
one of a kind. And listen, man, I know you love my father, but come on, you destroyed his photo. You locked
Boris
Scott out of
make
the
a screw
Scott.
up.
Scott, where's Scott? Is he on the floor?
He's sort of roll him on the side so he don't barf. But
Barf. Jesus, dude.
He Boris make a bad?
Yeah, I think Boris made a big bad. You don't get it.
Boris
You don't
gonna
see
flip
this.
the Master Man.
You don't see what you've done.
No, if you say it's bad, it's bad. So Boris will now
no, it's-
announce
it's-
retirement from Master Man. You're going to quit
Listen,
and leave, go back to the
it's really
master
bad.
house and live in
I
Blue Closet.
don't. First of all, look, you defaced my dad's autograph that I gave you guys as a gift, but then you summoning his spirit from the dead. What are you? You completely mental?
Well, Gypsy Lady said the word. That's like
He's
20.
not mental. He's
And you
not
believe the
mental.
gypsy lady?
This was like 35,000 booples
Oh my God,
and maybe like 3 scratch tickets to win $5.
Boris.
That's what Boris had to pay Tom the Dagar because she said
Boris,
to take the picture.
Boris,
You cut the mouth and
you love my dad, right? You look at him as a god of Hollywood, right?
you the demigod, you're the god. He wanted to do something nice, but if he screw up, Boris is going to leave.
Say that again. I'm the what now?
You're the demigod because you're son of the god, and then
Did you hear this?
The god,
The
and
demigod. I
Boris
don't even.
going to like leave. Then
I
he'll
don't,
retire.
dude, I don't even know what to say. But like, you really effed up bad. Like what you've done is just crazy, and I think you're gonna have to make amends for this.
You can make amends.
You know, my father was a god to me. My dad was a god to me. But you know what? He was a big believer. Do you know anything about mythology? You ever heard about Greek mythology?
Yeah, Zeus done put his dingle in everybody, make the little demigods.
Exactly. Zeus the god. Kind of like my father. He put his dingle a lot of places as well.
But Boris not gonna even think about Miss Dagar have a dingle where he put it. So that's between
That's
Dagar
fine.
and his dingle.
That's for another show. But I'm going to tell you right now, like you're going to have to. You ever heard of Hercules? Hercules was a really
the guy that
very
go around
powerful
with the-
god, but he just wasn't the brightest bulb on the block. Okay, and he really screwed up with Zeus once. And Zeus gave him these. He called it the 12 labors of Hercules. But do you want to make good on this, man? Do you want to make good? Do you want to make everything good for?
I just want to make clear. He offended the Agar line of lineage, and he'd apparently screw up major. He's even going to have to retire now, but he want to make good before he leave.
Well, assuming that Scott is revivable here, I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you a little task.
It'd be good.
I want you to understand that when I screwed up with my father as a kid, my dad was a great father, but he would make me make amends, and he would make me take responsibility for my actions. And dude, you're going to have to take responsibility for what you've done. Like, you have no idea how valuable that photo was that I gave to you and Scott, and you've destroyed it.
Well, and we got like the magic fixing tape for another 20,000 booples, but
I got you. Magic fixing. Listen, you need to learn a better lesson. I want you to. I'm going to introduce you to a little something from mythology. Much like Hercules, you need to understand and partake in what I'm going to refer to moving forward as the 12 labors of Boris.
Oh boy,
you with me?
Yeah, totally. You want to make you happy? Don't do anything. Boris cut his own finger off.
I'm a demigod.
Make it right now.
You want to screw with me? I'm a demigod, pal. I want to make this good. I want to make you good. What you're going to do is this. First thing is first. I'm going to check in with you from time to time. But the first task I'm going to give you today is really simple. I just want you to preach the word of Agar. I want you to just keep telling people, because I know you love my father and you love his films. Mm-hmm. I just want you to keep telling everybody how you feel about John Agar, the god, and his career and his films. And I'm going to make you, that's going to be your first task. And I'm going to check back with you, and I'm going to check on Scott. And I want you to complete these tasks with your heart. And I want you to learn a lesson from this. And I'm going to give you more to follow. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Boris going to do that. He'll do it this week. He's going to go out.
You really don't.
Get the sandwich board.
You
and
really
the little thing about your dad, and going to tell people. Maybe forcibly, if you have to.
You could go on HBO for all I care, but I want you to make sure that you do it from your heart. But you really paid how much to that gypsy lady?
Like, the life savings, all the booples and some scratch offs.
Okay, I get it. All right, listen. You just preach the words of my father, and I'm going to give you a few more tasks. You need to learn a little bit about responsibility and about the circumstances that your actions bring about. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I want you to do this for me. All right.
Boris, do it for you.
All right, my friend. Well, listen, I'm not real happy about this. So I'm going to judge. I'm going to judge your progress on how well you take care of these tasks.
Okay.
And the first
Boris
one,
going to do it like Hercules and go out and.
That's what I want, bro. I want you to do this like Hercules. And while you're doing it like Hercules, make sure Scott there is breathing. All right.
Boris think he's crying in his sleep, but it's he's too maybe shallow breathing, but he's going to check.
All right. I expect you to redeem yourself, Boris.
Boris will.
All right.
Boris going to do it right now.
I'm counting on you. I'm counting on you.
Something.
And then, all right. Carry on, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Agar, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, crap. Boris doesn't make the demigod, man. Okay. I guess we're not doing 3 things about producer later tonight.
Just do the next guess and get out of my house.
Well, you didn't write it down on the wall.
Boris?
What? Boris don't forgot. He had
you don't read the emails?
Boris was kind of with the gypsy lady in the thing with the email.
Mitchell Denton?
No, that the gypsy lady wasn't named Mitchell. She was like, Brizelda or something.
No.
Steven from Black Heart Models come on the show. She's gonna kill Boris. That's why Boris looking like she got this big boot.
You just need to get out of my house.
Okay, Boris gonna leave.
Say goodbye, Boris.
Goodbye, Boris.
right. I'm still online with Scott and Amber and.
Boris forgot his wallet.
I don't care what you forgot. Get out. I will put it in the mail. Get out of my house.
Watch the shoe.
Honey.
What did I miss? Why
You
does
missed a lot.
my head hurt? And why is John Hagar's mouth stuck to my head?
So like 2 weeks.
Hey, Monster Kids. Thanks for hanging out for another episode of Monster Manor. Do us a favor, though, and hit the bell to get reminders of when we add new content. Subscribe to our channel, and while you're waiting for new shows, check out our website at www.monstermanor1313.com. New content at least every other week, sometimes even more often. Like and follow our Facebook page as well for other content. And lastly, if you want to help us out, check out our Patreon under Monster Manor with Scott Fenster. Thanks for hanging out until the end.